morning. Good morning. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I couldn't have done it better than you, myself. Good morning, everyone, and glad to be here. I hope I'm not too loud right at the back. Good? Yeah. So sorry for those of you who are standing. I did not expect that we'll be a full house early morning. But as we start, I want to just, the introduction is done. I want to welcome you all to the Data Engineering Summit. Last year we were here in the Analytics Cypher Summit, and I was thinking, what about us data engineers? We don't get a summit of our own. And here we are, 6 months later, with our own summit. And I hope the next 2 days are going to be very insightful. We are here, we are lucky to be here with so many people who have done so much in the data engineering space. And we are here primarily to learn more than teach. I think we can learn from various sources. This is a great place to be with people who are in the data engineering space, who have come from different companies. And we at Genpact also have a large data engineering practice which I lead. And some of the things I'm going to talk about comes from our own experience working with our customers, but also some other fun stuff which obviously you know where we find the fun stuff. Alright, so thank you to Analytics India Magazine for organizing this. I think this is a great way to put the focus on data engineering where it should belong. There's enough chatter and chat about AI, all of us are excited about it, but let's get back to the basics of data engineering. Okay. Many of you have read Yuval Noah Harari's books, historian, thinker, and he says in one of his books that in future, the only contribution of human beings will be their own data. Beyond that, they do not contribute, they will not have to contribute anything to the society. AI will take care of the rest. Right? How many of you believe this is going to happen in the next 50 years? Okay, not many people believe this is going to happen. So that's a good topic for discussing actually. So we'll have some mics to go around. I want to know all the people who did not put your hands up. Why do you think humans are going to do a lot more than just giving their data to the world? And the pace at which AI is emerging, I won't be surprised if sooner than later, humans' contribution is data and insights and AI and actions are driven by machines. And the collaboration is what's going to drive the world forward. And the rate of change, of course, has been exponential. What we did not even think about 10 years ago is already happening. What's the latest buzz? It was all a year ago we were talking about metaverse, we were talking about blockchain, of course, for a long time, but we were talking about Web3. How come in the last 6 months everybody is only talking about ChatGPT? All the chatter is around that. Why? The rate of change is fast. And 6 months from now, we all know ChatGPT is not going to be the talk of the town. There are many other hundreds of AI tools coming out every day. Right? So, while all of this happens, we here, I'm assuming a lot of everybody is interested in data engineering. The reason is AI happens because there's good data engineering behind it. So, but I also thought, let me do this, let me ask ChatGPT what I should talk about in this summit. Right, easy way, I don't have to think too much. ChatGPT knows everything. So I did exactly that. Oops, it went forward. I put the question to ChatGPT. I want to give a 45-minute keynote talk on data engineering in the new age. Exactly that. I knew ChatGPT is going to tell me exactly what topic should be there, every time, what do I talk. Actually, it did. To be fair, it did a good job of listing down the topics. So I didn't have to, all I had to do was ask more questions. On each of these bullet points, I ask another question, ChatGPT gives me a long answer, I just come and speak. That's very easy, isn't it? But then I actually started doing that. I found that quite a lot of it is, there is no, the Sunil is not coming out of it. It is, I don't know who's writing all of this, I know it's a machine, but there is no person coming and speaking from here. Then I thought, 2 days, so many experts. They're going to talk about all of these, and probably we're going to have multiple experts talking about the same topics. So let me not go down the beaten path. And anyway, it's first session, so to set the tone, I thought let me take a slightly easier path or lighter path. So this talk, I'm going to keep it slightly unconventional. I'm hoping that you also get to talk, get to ask, or get to speak and share your opinions on the topics we're going to talk. So I've taken a set of topics in the data engineering space, which I think are relevant in the new age for us to move forward. Data engineering is not new, it's been there forever. But some of these topics would be relevant, and some of our other experts over the next 2 days are going to talk about each of these in detail. All right, so what I did was I changed it, and this is the format I'm going to use. We're going to talk about a few subjects, and we're going to debate about it. Okay, are you good with that, all of you? Okay, some more hands? Yeah, great, thank you. So the first thing in the mix of topics I said is there's a lot of discussion about whether we should be a data-driven organization, whether it's for your own organization or for your customers if you're consulting. What is a data-driven organization? Right? I'll give you my answer, but I'd like to hear from you. A data-driven organization is one where you set up the culture so that most of the decisions in the organization are made based on the data. Sounds simple, right? How hard could it be? You have all the data, like you see, you have so much data now, you can hardly manage it. You have all the data, how hard could it be to just make your decisions based on the data? It turns out it's pretty hard. Most organizations struggle with it. Because it's not just the technology. Technology is there, it's already there. You can search your entire data with just a few keywords. You can ask your database to speak to you, right? It will. However, it's a lot about what do you do with the data. Data in itself is of no value. Do you agree? Yeah. I think many of my questions answer will be yes only, but if you disagree, please tell me. Data in itself has no value. It's actually a cost to keep data. It costs to produce data, store data, transform, consume. Then why do we have all this data? Right? Data is valuable only when we drive some business outcome from it, only when we translate it into some value. How do we turn your heaps of data into value? There are a few ways. You could sell your data, monetize. Easy, right? You have all your customer data, put it in the market, somebody will buy it. You can monetize. It's actually a very legitimate way of making money, but that's a low value monetization. You want to use your data to drive the outcomes for your business, right? So instead of starting with, I have all this data, I can dump it into data lake, data warehouse, wherever, and then let me figure out use cases to put it to use, start from your business outcomes. Start from your business outcomes and work backwards and see how can data help me drive my business outcome. Your business outcome may be your company's revenue, your profitability, your customer satisfaction, employee engagement, whatever that is. Right? And hence work backwards. Organizations need to be value-driven and not just data-driven. But the question to you is one better than the other, or is there even a difference? And in your experience, what have you seen? What do organizations do to be value-driven and not just data-driven? Any thoughts? Anybody? Can we have a mic, please? So please put up your hand if you want to share your thoughts on any of the topics as we're going along. We're not going to wait for the end for Q&A. I think we'll forget by the end what we spoke at the beginning. Okay? So as we go along, please put up your hands. The mic will come around. I want to hear from you. What's your experience in each of these topics? Data-driven versus value-driven. Anybody? And there are no wrong answers. Like I said, most of the questions, yeah, the answer will be yes. So there's someone.
Hello.
Yeah, if you can please tell your name, what you do, and then.
Hello. Hi, this is Pramod here, and basically I'm a data architect. So I'll say here, it makes only more sense when it is value driven, because some value has to come out of it, right? So any organization has to make or find ways to make data, to make some value. So I'll go more in favor of value driven.
Okay. Yeah. And do you see organizations doing it or not?
Of course, they are doing it. Without doing it, it doesn't make sense for them also, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. And let's assume for a minute, all of us are data engineers. As data engineers, our job is to make sure the business which is making the decisions or driving the outcomes of the company has the right data available with the right quality at the right time, so the data can actually drive value. There's an example around value-driven organizations which I heard somewhere. When the pandemic hit, many companies were struggling for business, right, including airlines. So United Airlines did a quick assessment. They found that the value that they could derive by selling their customer data, just the customer data they were sitting on, was 2x the market cap of the company at that time. So there's huge value sitting in the data if you can put it to use. Of course, they did not sell it. They're still in business. They're still thriving. But that gives you an idea of where the value could sit, where you're not even seeing. All right. So then let's move to the next one. This is a topic which I think a lot of you would have debated, implemented. Should my organization or my customer have a data mesh or a data fabric approach to their data architecture? So just a quick show of hands, without even starting what data mesh or data. How many of you think data mesh, data fabric? Okay, not too many. So I'm assuming this is not a new topic, but assuming it is for some of you, let me just give a quick lowdown. Data mesh is an approach where you have a decentralized approach to your data architecture. So the governance is decentralized. The data is created, data is provided as a set of products, data products. And the domain teams, your business and IT teams and engineers, everyone work together in a team to make these data products available for consumption. So the focus is quite domain-driven and decentralized, right? Whereas in a data fabric, it's a little bit the other way around. It is more centralized. You have like a middle layer of data fabric for your enterprise, where your data consumers and data producers interact through the middle layer, what we call as a data fabric. A lot of companies use data fabric as their architecture approach. My opinion is one is not better than the other. It just depends on what your organization needs. There are benefits and pros and cons of both, but what you use is entirely depends on the organization. In fact, many companies now are settling on a middle path where there is some decentralization, as in business teams, domain teams create their data products, but a large platform team still maintains a kind of a data fabric. Right? That seems to be a middle path that many are settling to. Why it is hard to do data mesh is also because, like you see in this cartoon, business and IT typically do not speak the same language. And when they don't, let alone putting them in one same team, it's even hard to make them understand each other. And hence, it's even more important to put them together and make a data mesh approach work. So that's an approach to this. Anybody has thoughts around either data mesh or data fabric, or which is better in your experience? Anyone? Yeah? Can you pass the mic, please?
Hi, this is Sundar. I work for Viasat. We specialize in satellite communications. We provide internet.
Yes, I can see. Yeah.
So we provide internet services to commercial aircrafts. I don't have any idea about data fabric, but data mesh, I think it is inevitable. Like we transition from monolith to microservices on enterprise software for distributed systems. I think that that decentralized governance is inevitable.
Okay.
I think we will transition towards that soon.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Somebody had a hand up there.
Yeah, hi, this is Priyan. So I think, see, data mesh is more applicable if you are building something new, you know. For organizations, for large manufacturing organizations which already have big ERP footprints, they are already segmented into their own structures. They won't go through a transformation just to fit data mesh. Whereas if you're starting something new, it is microservices driven, you can always talk about those things very logically.
Okay.
Hello, this is Jignesh. I'm a data solution architect with EPAM, and I've been working with one of the largest healthcare and the pharmaceuticals, processing their data on the global platform. So regarding the data mesh and the data fabric, so the real experience that I'm going to tell you is what is the ask from since this year and then at least the beginning of the end of the last year. So what they said is we already have our customers said we already have an investment on the data fabric in terms of, let's say, virtualized servers. They have a lot of ETLs in place, right? But they want to do the value-driven approach, and they want to understand the value, whether they will move to the data mesh, then what value the data mesh will bring, and what the data fabric value is being there. They're still computing how the value is being generated. So when we went ahead and did the middle approach, as you mentioned, so the leadership of the business, what they said is, why are you not challenging the status quo, right? And that is where the data mesh is actually winning, because it's going to, so the business leadership wants to challenge the status quo, and they want to go with the data mesh part, and people are ready to, or the customers basically are ready to invest in it, because they have seen the value-driven approach while they go with the data mesh approach. So that's our experience.
Yeah, thank you. Good insights. That's very true. The business is challenging the IT teams on challenge the status quo. Why can't we change? I mean, it is possible. And like I said, our observation is many organizations are not going to one extreme or the other, especially large organizations, like you said, they already have an established architecture, and disruption is not easy. So they would many times settle for something which is more in the middle path, which can cater to both. But yeah, there's a lot of interest in data mesh architecture, and a lot of customers we have implemented in a few places, and it's receiving good response, because there is, like I said, business and IT are going to be together, and they now start talking together because they're working together. Second is you're also able to expose your data in a way that it need not be consumed only through reports. You can have API access to all the analytical data, something that you can then use for your AI and applications. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, if you can stand up, I can see you better there. Thanks.
So this is Vinod here. I'm from Credit Sizen. My observation is data mesh is a paradigm shift, and it can add a lot of value if all the teams are able to collaborate better to have that paradigm shift together. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much been there. If you have adopted a domain-driven design to build your decentralized system, you're pretty much there. It's just that the collaboration effort that's required to adopt data mesh fully. And data fabric, as you said, a middle ground between data mesh and fabric looks pretty interesting, and probably teams which are facing challenges to adopt that probably can explore that option.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Vinod. Okay, this topic seems to be a little more of interest, so we can come back unless somebody else has an insight right now. Okay, well, let's move on, and we can come back. There's a lot of interesting topics in data engineering which we come across on a day-to-day basis, and each of these are evolving, right? Again, look at it. We're not talking about any specific technology or a software to do any of this. There are many ways to do this, and there are many companies building software to support the different concepts you need in data engineering to align with the new age, right? And the topic I said, AI is here, where is your data? Because all the interest seems to be in AI. Yes, of course it's required, that's the future, yes. But unless your data pipelines, data stores are in the best shape, AI is going to slow down. All right, moving. This is another favorite topic for a lot of people. Data warehouse, data lake. It's obviously not either or. Both have their purposes. But the trend seems to be that there were certain software which were specializing in data warehouse like Snowflake. Other software specializing in data lakes like Databricks and so on. The lines seem to be blurring. That is the change. Lines seem to be blurring in terms of what a data warehouse can do and what a data lake can do. Many of these software can now do both. Traditionally, of course, when long ago, when at least I started my career, these concepts were not there. You have a database, a relational database associated with an application used to be the norm, right? And then you started realizing that relational databases are good for transactional or operational applications. For your analytical purpose, you need a larger store which is tuned for more queries rather than updates. Hence, we started creating data warehouses. And data warehouses and data marts evolved. And then we said data warehouse and data marts are fine, but they need very structured data. But now we have all kinds of data coming in, unstructured data. So data lakes are better. It looks a little bit like that everything is dumb, but obviously it's not that dumb. There's a lot of uses for data lakes. Data scientists love it because you have all kinds of data that you can play around with. But two things are happening. One, software are now able to do both structured and unstructured data in the same software. For example, and the second thing is both data lakes and data warehouses were suited for batch data, not real time. Correct? For real-time data, it was still stream processing, but batch processing was happening through data warehouse and lakes. But now that line is also blurring. Modern software can do batch as well as streaming processing in the same software. Databricks can do it. Snowflake is coming with that. So Snowflake now has a Snowpipe, which allows you to do stream processing. So with these lines blurring, we may be going towards software which can do everything. But of course, there'll always be give and take. There'll always be compromises done. But I'm hoping that the software vendors will be able to create optimizations around the warehousing concepts, lake concepts, of course, lake house that we are using for a while now. Any thoughts on this? People who have worked on this for a while, do you think this convergence of data lake, data warehouse is good, or it's actually slowing down? There's somebody at the back who can pass the mic. Right at the back there, yeah. By the way, these cartoons are not copyrighted. The creator is a company, they're happy to share. So that was one of the things I was wondering about. I'm not creative enough to create cartoons myself, but I can search on the internet. But these are, I found them very interesting.
Hey, Sulan.
Yeah.
Morning. My name is Deepak and I
Can you take it a little closer?
Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Deepak and I'm part of Vodafone Intelligent Solutions. So according to me, data warehouse, data lake, data mesh, data ocean, data fabric. So we are keeping ourselves busy in catching the next wave of technology evolution. So probably we have to take a pause and realize what exactly we want. Do I really have streaming data coming in? If yes or no, depends on where do I go.
Yeah.
So data lake, data warehouse, data mesh, data ocean in between. Somehow it is missed.
Swamps are also missing.
So only thing is what exactly we need, which is suiting us better, is what we need to realize. Because these things will, data XYZ will be in next year, we will be talking. So
Yeah.
we need to take a pause, realize what exactly we need.
Absolutely. Very well said. these things will evolve, but the important thing is that we understand why something is there. That's why studying history is very useful, because you can avoid mistakes in the future, learning from history. So you need to understand how each of these evolved, and then you have a better appreciation for what might be next. Yep. Great. Any other thoughts on data lakes and warehouses and streams and swamps?
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Ankit. I'm the solutions engineer with CData Software. So we have been tackling this problem ourselves as well as a product company, trying to figure out what is the best approach to take it.
Yeah.
And I think there's no one answer to know that data warehouse is the right solution or data lake. And as the gentleman in the back said, right, it keeps on evolving. One of the things that we have, however, realized is with the big enterprises, they like to keep the data organized when they're using it for analytics purposes. However, for someone venturing into data science, AI, ML, they need all bunch of data everywhere, structured or unstructured, and they have been more keen to look at the data lake. The challenge really comes in when they want both. And pretty much any organization, really, everyone is relying on data analytics, everyone is also working some way on the data science to optimize their data, forecast their data. And with the increasing costs that these platforms come up with, so no two like a single organization really prefers to have both of the solutions in different products. And that's why as product companies, it is also, in a way, our responsibility to build up solutions that can bridge that gap between these two and efficiently manage the cost for the enterprises in this crunching economy. In a way. That's what I think.
Yeah. Very well said. Yeah, absolutely. There are dilemmas and things will evolve. So the good thing about being in data engineering, I realized I wasn't a data engineer all my life. I started as a software engineer building applications. I thought data is just a sidekick, frankly, until in the last decade you've seen data coming center stage and apps kind of becoming context. And that's a good thing for all of us in the data engineering space, because there's so much innovation happening, and that's the reason we are even debating that should a data warehouse and the lake be the same or different. These are big concepts and big shifts in thinking. So very evolving field. Good to be learning from each other's experience, and magazines like Analytics India, where there is a lot of thinkers coming and sharing their learnings as the field evolves. Okay, move on. One more thought.
Hi, my name is Dipanshu. I work with Eli Lilly and Company, a North American-based pharmaceutical. So basically, my take on data warehouse versus data lake, and from a perspective of trying to have a super app kind of a mentality where we can have one thing, one platform that can do it all, kind of settles into a mindset where we may be losing out on experimenting with new things, having small teams that can build something new. They might fail, but fast fail, I think, is one we see in every deck in all of our companies. So yeah, that's where my mindset is, that we should not be shying away from trying different products for different use cases. Some of them may do wonders for a specific use case, and then that can be integrated into a product that org level has been taken on.
Thank you. Absolutely. One approach is to pick best of breed products as they come along, do your experimentation. The large software ecosystems like Oracle and SAP would always want you to stay in the ecosystem. They have a suite of products. You could pretty much live and die within that ecosystem. It's always good to keep an eye out for newer emerging products which bring something unique, and most of them let you try before you buy. So yes. All right, moving. About 15 minutes remaining. Okay. So this is another topic which I like. The first picture is all about, if you see the three bottles, all of them contain data. Without their labels, you don't know what you're drinking, right? So it's very important to have the metadata. You have to spend time and energy documenting your data, right? You may do it manually, or you may do it with a tool. There are many tools in the market which can catalog your data automatically, including one of our own products, PowerMe. There's a session where we have to talk about that. So these tools can actually automatically build your metadata catalog. It's very, very important to know what fluid is inside which bottle before you use it. Take this to the size of a large enterprise, hundreds of thousands or millions of tables, with so many tables and hundreds of columns in each one, and I don't know how many rows of data. Without having a good data catalog, you're pretty much flying blind. Elections are coming here. Do you know how much data cataloging our politicians do? I hope nobody takes offense. They know at every booth level who are the voters, what is their profile. They know the metadata of their electorate. We generally speak so lightly about the politicians. They are so good at it. And we as data professionals, we have no excuse not to have a catalog of all the data that we have in our organization. So data catalog is extremely important. The second cartoon is about how data catalogs are so useful is also because they can help you with a data lineage to show how data flows through your organization. These days it's common for any organization to have hundreds and hundreds of different data silos. To traverse through that and actually find the data that makes sense for the business, you need a data lineage written down. You need to know how data flows from one system to another, how it transforms as it flows. Did the quality drop as it transformed? So the lineage tracking, it's like a map of your data. You have catalog and the lineage which gives you a driving direction, right? So very, very important. Question to you is, this was not in fashion until a few years ago. I ever thought I can, but now I think there's more and more realization as data governance becomes important, data security becomes important. You have compliance requirements to even certify whether you have a personally identifiable information, what you do with it, how you process it, how long you store it. For all that, unless you know your metadata very well, you're just flying in the dark, don't know where you're going, right? So question to the audience is, what's your thoughts on metadata and building data catalogs and lineages? Have you come across problems with this? Yeah.